Hey guys, my name is Jen. I'm probably going to have to keep this video short and sweet because my kids sound like they're waking up from nap. Um, I am having surgery tomorrow to get the traditional duodenal switch with Margaret Inman in Carmel, Indiana at St. Vincent Hospital. My current stats are highest weight was 288 back on, I don't know, the end of May, Memorial Day weekend. I'm currently at 278. I'm 5'8" tall, so I think that makes my BMI in the 43 or 44 range. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I'm a nurse by training, so I'm hoping that helps, with the follow-up as far as understanding the labs and whatnot. I am not a Virgin DS. I actually had a lap band placed back in 2007. My highest weight back then was around 240, and I got down to 178 with the band. I ate 1,500 calories a day, and I worked out 2 hours a day. So 178 on 5'8" sounds high, but I was actually in a pretty good place. Since then, I had my band in Mexico, and it was difficult to get follow-up, like fills, unfills. If it was too tight, it would be months before I could get back. The nearest facilities to me were in Chicago, which is about 5.5 hours away, or sometimes I'd fly to Tampa, which is not the nearest, but more scenic. But anyways, so I had a lot of issues with vomiting. I had what I call lap band bulimia. I had 16 different cavities as a result of all the vomiting. When the band would feel too tight until I could get it unfilled, I'd eat a lot of slider foods, not good for weight loss. And then I met my husband, and with dating, I got comfortable and was eating the wrong kind of foods. And so here we are. So anyways, the plan for tomorrow is to get the band out and then just do the duodenal switch. I don't have any slip or erosion that I'm aware of. So hopefully everything will go smoothly. I actually live in Ohio, so it's about a 3-hour drive up for me. My husband should be home shortly so that we can drop our kids off to my parents and then head up. I have to report to the hospital at 6:30 in the morning for surgery at 8:30, and I'm somewhat excited. Like, I want this day to be over so that I can do it and get started, and then I somewhat don't ever want this day to end because I'm normal today, and what if when I'm not normal, it's horrible. So I'm trying to stay positive. I will not chicken out. Part of me wants to chicken out, but I know that I won't. It's just a very emotional sort of day, up and down on how I feel in any given moment. My doctor is in a way amazing because I see a lot of people doing 2 and 3 week long liquid protein, very low calorie, low carb diets. My doctor did not have anything like that. My only restriction is today, and it's really only for 2 meals. I could eat whatever I wanted at breakfast. For lunch, I can have soft foods like pudding, mashed potatoes, ice cream. Hint, I'll be having a milkshake. And then for dinner, it's just clear liquids from dinner on through the end of the day. At midnight, nothing by mouth. And then obviously to the hospital in the morning, still nothing. So this really has not been intolerable. I did try to cut back a little bit when I hit 288 because I don't want to see 300. So here I am back at 278, but it's not like I've made a really concerted effort to try to lose any weight in this time period. Honestly, I did sort of a farewell tour of carbs. Not too crazy, but obviously not perfect either. I didn't gain a ton, by the way. When I went in for my consult, I was 282. So when I got to 288, it wasn't like I'd put on 20 pounds. I just was steadily gaining and thought, I should probably try to be a little more circumspect. So anyways, one of the questions I see people answer a lot on these YouTube videos is why the DS. Obviously the band didn't work for me, so I won't be getting another band. A sleeve feels a lot like a band. It's purely restrictive, no malabsorption. I have a couple of friends who have had sleeves. They've done pretty well. I mean, lost a good chunk of their weight, but not got to goal, and they work hard. I mean, they are dedicated to getting the weight off, because if you're not with a sleeve, you will regain. And I know me, and I will be dedicated for a time, but if there is no consequence and no reinforcement, I will probably eventually fall off the trail. I'm 37, history has shown this to be markedly true for me. As far as the RNY, I love a pylorus. I don't want my food to dump into my intestine. I don't want dumping syndrome. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I can't curl up in bed with cramps and pass out. I know it is a sort of a consequence, but it's not the one I want. So it just did not seem particularly appealing to me. I was tempted to do more of a SIPS loop DS type DS. I think that is a very valid surgery. My hang up there is that it's pretty new. There's no long-term data, and when I got the band, it was pretty new, and every surgeon sung its praises for being customizable, and it was going to be the next new thing, and there was never going to be any other kind of weight loss surgery because it was so great. And here I am 11 years later, need a new one for myself, and I mean, everybody is getting them out. There are very few people who have had long-term success with that. So while I don't necessarily believe that'll be the case for the SIPS or Loop DS, I'm just not comfortable enough to say, what the hell, I'll give it a go. My insurance will only pay for one more surgery, and honestly, it's a little eating crow to need a second one anyway, so needing a third one would not be my preferred route through life. So there we are. Traditional DS gonna be my final option. As far as getting prepared, I have watched a lot of YouTube videos, hence I'm making a YouTube video. I joined a lot of Facebook groups when I first was looking into things, sleeve groups, RNY groups, DS groups. I looked at all the old message boards on Bariatric Pal and Bariatric Facts and Obesity Help, and really looked at firsthand experiences from people. And I will tell you, on the boards for every other kind of surgery, you see a lot of regret, 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 regret. Now, I imagine there are DSers with regret out there, but you don't see a lot of them, and they don't post a lot, the ones that do. I'm not saying you don't see people with problems or complications, but you don't see people saying, man, I really wish I had done something else. What can I convert to the extreme that I've seen that on other surgery sites. So I feel confident in the research. The big keys I hear are hydration, which is pretty straightforward, protein, and I've purchased a sampler pack of nectar flavored proteins from Bariatric Pal. It's 17 different flavors. I want to say they're like 1 or 2 servings in a pack. I don't know, I haven't tried any yet. But I hear your taste buds change after the surgery, and so I didn't want to have these giant tubs of a flavor only to find out that I then find it disgusting. So I think that's going to be good. And then I have Gen Pro, which is a flavorless protein, and I've also heard Isopure is good for flavorless proteins. So I'm going to give those a try on proteins. I have like an entire, like literally Amazon box of vitamins that I've ordered. It's like full of vitamins. I think 15 to 18 different vitamins. Susan Brown on one of the Facebook pages does a list of starter vitamins, and so I've decided to just follow that to begin with. My surgeon only recommends 4 Flintstone vitamins, an ADEK combo, and I think a calcium chew and a probiotic are their recommendations post-surgery. Maybe that would work, but I don't want to find out the hard way that it won't. So I'm going to go with this more extensive list, and then if the labs show that I don't need as much, I'll happily scale back. The other thing that you read a lot when reading about the DS is about the bowel issues. I don't want to say that's my biggest concern. Being healthy is my biggest concern. Being able to function and eat is my biggest concern. That said, I also don't want, part of it is I want to feel comfortable in public, so I don't want to have crazy, stinky poop and diarrhea and run from places to use the bathroom, peel paint off the wall with my gas. So I know a lot of that's diet controlled further out, but I also have poo-pourri I've heard is good for putting in the toilet water before you go. And I've got 2 different sprays, one called M9 by Hollister and one called Mediaire, spelled Mediaire. I don't know who makes that, but I bought them both on Amazon to try. I bought Devrom, which are these internal deodorizer pills, and I've also heard that taking a probiotic to support a good gut balance is beneficial. So I have all of those things, and I will keep you posted on if they are needed and how they work. The other thing that I wanted to cover was why I decided to do this. So I currently have high blood pressure. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome and insulin resistance that comes along with that. My thyroid, though it's not clinically hypothyroid, is on the higher end of normal and probably trending in that direction. My triglycerides are high this year. My dad had 4 strokes in the last 3 years. He just turned 60 this week. He also had a carotid artery that was like 98% occluded, and the other side is 80% occluded. So a lot of family history as far as heart disease. My grandpa died of a heart attack. My uncle just died at 59 of a heart attack. People on both sides of my family have diabetes. My dad was just diagnosed diabetic. So long range, I can see the writing on the wall. I am an apple. I carry my weight in my tummy, which has a much higher health risk than people who are pears. It is also a lot more difficult to find pants that fit as an apple, which sounds trivial, but it is annoying. Especially as a nurse, we wear scrubs. I don't want my butt crack popping out when I am in surgery, or I'm a labor and delivery nurse helping with delivering babies. I need my pants to be on. So that's not the main reason I'm doing surgery, but it will be a nice change if that gets better. So anyways, tomorrow's the day. I don't know if I'll do any videos from the hospital. I did do starting pictures and starting measurements today so that I can follow those monthly, and I'll try to do weights weekly. I want to try to do videos weekly, but we will see what life allows. So I hope this has been helpful for somebody. If you have any questions or you want to follow along, please feel free to ask questions in the comments or subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye.